All right, we are back with another pick'em video. Going to be talking Game 3 of the NBA Finals, and we shift to Dallas now from Boston. We've seen the spread shift in this one too, favoring in Dallas's side, with some injury implications probably on Boston's side of things. We got a whole bunch of stuff to talk about for this one. Breaking down the Porzingis injury. Is Kyrie going to play better at home after getting a little goosebumps at in Boston, where he's had a rich history of not so great stuff. So we're going to talk about all that. Hopefully, bring you guys some winners like we always try to do. In terms of this series so far, in Game 1, we predicted it perfectly. We had a 4-0 sweep. We talked about a bunch of leans that hit. We talked about the spread of the game. Boston covered that. And then in Game 2's video, we followed that with an 0-3 reverse sweep. So we've been hit or miss in this series so far. That's kind of what happens in games that you try to predict one game. It's hard to do. But we're going to try to do that again today. If patterns continue, this should be a nice positive sweep for us. But again, don't throw the house on it. We're just trying to have some fun watching some NBA Finals basketball, which has been awesome so far. So many stars in this thing. And I hope Porzingis is healthy, obviously, as a Celtics fan, but just watching this series, you got to hope he's healthy too, with how good he was in Game 1. But we'll get all into that. I do want to say, if you guys are new to this channel, definitely go ahead and subscribe. Rip out daily content like this on most days. Didn't get to one yesterday. I celebrated my anniversary, so that was for me. But took the day off, and now we're back for the NBA. But we're gonna be doing MLB all throughout the summer. We break down like each individual pitcher matchup, hitter matchups, historical data on that stuff, hit rates, odds, and all things like that. So try to get you guys as much information, and ultimately try to get you some winners for the day. But yeah, if you're new here, subscribe, leave the video a like, comment something down below. Just tells YouTube to push this thing out a little bit. But let's just get right into the picks. I'm excited for them. It's already a little bit later in the day, but yeah, let's just get right into it. All right, so jumping into the desktop screen here, we're going to be talking about a few different apps that I like to use, my favorite DFS apps. They're also mostly partners of the channel. If you're interested in any of these apps and tailing any of the slips we're going to go over, because we're going to be using multiple, check out the links in the description. You can use my code, which helps the channel, but I'm also going to give you guys a free month in my Discord. You're going to get a 100% deposit match up to your first $100 on a lot of those apps as well, so it's kind of like a win-win-win. So again, if you're not on PrizePicks, if you're not on Underdog, if you're not on Chalkboard or Sleeper, whatever you want to talk about, use the link in the description, helps out the channel, and I'm going to get you a free month of the Discord, which we'll talk a little bit about later. But you see Daniel Gafford pulled up here. I got a dunks line, which is pretty much only on PrizePicks. I can't really find dunks lines anywhere else. I got his dunks line, his rebounds line. I think Gafford's going to be a little bit better in terms of his first two games. I think he's going to have a better Game 3 than we've seen so far in this series, and it's because of Kristaps Porzingis. Now, if you don't know, Porzingis is dealing with an injury. The Celtics said it's a very rare injury. I looked up videos breaking down the injury, and it's something weird in his ankle. He's going to be able to probably play. Whether it's this game or later on down the line, I wouldn't be surprised if the Celtics are very cautious and maybe sit him for this game, or if he does play, he's going to play limited minutes. But that's huge for someone like Gafford, because the first two games, we wanted nothing to do with Lively or Gafford. And the reason was because the Celtics have the ability to play 5 out, especially with Porzingis, who's like a 40% three-point shooter. That makes Lively and Gafford uncomfortable getting out in three-point line. They have to chase the guys a little bit around a little bit more, which kind of, ruins their conditioning. They're so used to playing 4-minute stints, essentially. But it also just gets them out of the paint, and they don't have enough opportunities for rebounds. That's why P.J. Washington has been so effective at getting rebounds. Gafford's been forced to get out of the paint. Now, what happens if Porzingis doesn't play or is he's in limited minutes? We're going to see a little bit more Luke Cornett. I know, Horford can definitely stretch the floor a little bit, but he can't play 35, 40 minutes. We're going to see a little bit of Luke Cornett, who can stretch the floor, but I think the Mavs will, have a field day letting Cornett shoot 4 or 5 three-pointers today. So I think Gafford gets a little bit more run. He's been the favored center in this matchup over Lively. Lively, obviously, with foul trouble in Game 1, but then in Game 2, he didn't have any foul trouble, and they still went to Gafford for 22 minutes or so, where Lively only saw about 12 to 15. I forget exactly what that number was, but they favored Gafford in this situation. He's taken advantage of Jason Tatum when he plays kind of that center ball, whether it's Gafford spinning off him, just using his body to get him in bad position, going right over the top of him. Not as many alley-oop dunks as we saw in the Timberwolves series, but if Luke Cornett is guarding him like that, he's got a very similar build as someone like Rudy Gobert, probably even a little bit slower, and maybe you do see a few alley-oop dunks for Daniel Gafford in this one. So, this is all contingent on Porzingis. I don't think he's going to be 100%. He doesn't look like he has a walking boot or anything on, but he did have some weird dislocation in his ankle. You can look up the video that describes it, but, my view would be Celtics are up 2-0 in the series. You don't play with your food like that, so maybe he plays a little bit of time, 15 minutes, but again, he looked hobbled out there when that injury did happen. I know it's been a few days, but we'll have to see with Porzingis' length, with his ability to spread the floor. He made Gafford a little bit more uncomfortable, and now with that, mitigated at least a little bit, I think we're getting a nice discount on Gafford's line. So the Goblin here at 4.5 rebounds, that's obviously looking like a really good, easier line to hit. If you wanted to go to his 7.5 rebounds for the Demon, I wouldn't mind that. I wish we got his normal line at 5.5. We don't get that on PrizePicks right now. But I also like the Dunks line at 2.0. For everything for Gafford, I don't love his PrizePicks lines. He doesn't have a PRA at 15.5. I wouldn't mind going to that. I guess you could be looking at his fantasy score. You could be looking at his points and rebounds. But I'm sure you can find his, his PRA or something like that on a different website. But I just think Gafford's going to be in a good spot to get his overs today, and kind of just broke down the reason why. But you can see some of his hit rates here. I want to break down his rebounds. If I can show his rebounds. I got to find his rebounds line right here. 5.5 is the normal line. Again, we're doing this at 4.5. He's hit this. He's crushed this in a few of these games. Obviously, game one only played 14 minutes. He wasn't, a great impact in that game because of how good Porzingis was at spreading them out, making them uncomfortable. Then Porzingis is a little bit, hobbled in that second half of game two when that injury goes down. He played, 5 or 6 minutes on it, and we see Gafford get 22 minutes, 9 rebounds, a bunch of more rebound chances. All these certain things, start rising for Gafford, especially as they kind of choose him over Lively in this situation. Then you look at his dunks, the last 10 games, it's not going to show, it's going to show a 50% hit rate here, but, these don't hurt us when he just gets 2, and he's taking advantage of Tatum in that, post where he does this nice spin move, or he goes over the top, or he shields him off from the paint, and they go right over the top to him. Again, I just like Gafford in this situation. So there's a bunch of different ways to go to him. I think you could maybe go to these certain lines on PrizePicks. I think there's other ways to go to him on different apps like Underdog. Again, his 15.5 PRA would be something I'd want to look at, or just his points. If you think he's just going to score and maybe you don't think he's going to rebound, you think it's going to be more of a Luka, PJ Washington type thing, but I really do like his rebounding. So a lot to say about Gafford, but I think he's in a great spot to have a better game in game 3, maybe the best game so far of this series for him. All right, so moving along to the next play here. How about Jason Tatum, a guy who's been struggling to score, not shooting very well. We've all heard it in the media. He's getting ridiculed, but he has been doing other things right. He's been rebounding well, like he has been all playoffs, like he always does all playoffs, and he's been assisting the ball well. So he's making the right play. They're giving him a little bit more pressure, just like the Mavericks did to Anthony Edwards last series. Remember, Anthony Edwards didn't have the first 2 games, didn't score very well, but then Anthony Edwards came to Dallas, where they need to rely on him a little bit more in away games, and Anthony Edwards was able to score a little bit more. I kind of expect that from Tatum, and there's a few different bets that I have for him going over his points line, or at least getting 25 points today. But I also like his rebounds here. I'm going to point it out just because this is my favorite line for him on PrizePicks right now, but 9.5 rebounds. We went to game 2. He only got 9 rebounds in game 2. But he also started off really slow in that game rebounding. I think he had like 3 rebounds at halftime. Then you see Porzingis, a little bit limited, didn't play as many minutes in the second half. And then rebounds coming for Jason Tatum. He ends with 9 on the hook. But I like Tatum at 9.5. The odds are really favoring this one over too. I don't mind this at PrizePicks at all. We can check out the average sportsbook odds. 9.6. Why is that 9.6? Well, it's because DraftKings already has this at 10.5. A couple of our books already have this at 10.5, and that's driving it up. And it's still favored on the over here because everyone else that has it at 9.5, Pinnacle, one of the sharpest sports books out there, how about minus 139 on the over there? So everyone really favoring this over. We also see Jason Tatum just going into his outlier page. Also, any of the tools I'm using, guys, they have free trials. Go check them out using my link in the description. They're awesome. They're also just great ways to support the channel, but you can't really beat free trials, week-long free trials for Odds Jam and for Outlier. And I think it's 25% off your first month using DG Fantasy, but got to plug them because they're awesome. But here's rebounds for Jason Tatum. This is just the last 10 games in general. Again, ended on the hook in the game 2 against Dallas, but had 11 rebounds in game 1. You see the history, the head-to-head has a pretty solid history at rebounding the ball here. And then you look at the last 10 games. Yes, that's 70% hit rate. Without Porzingis, does he get a little bit of a boost? Does he rebound a little bit better? And you do see that. Last 10 games, how about 80% hit rate with Porzingis out of the lineup or in limited minutes today. Again, I don't think Porzingis is going out there and playing 30 minutes today. But yeah, you see 80% hit rate. You see a lot of these games well over here. So I think 9.5 boards is the way to go. But really, I'd probably go to his double-double line on Underdog. If I got it pulled up, I thought I did. Tatum right here, he's got a double-double line sitting at the same value as the 9.5 rebounds. Why can't I find this thing? Double-double right here, 0.5 double-doubles. You could take the higher over there. We just saw him get a double-double without rebounds last time. He got the 12 assists. So if you really want to be safer about it, the double-double line for the normal fixed payout system on Underdog, you can't really beat that. So double-double on Underdog. If you're not on Underdog, I highly recommend checking it out. They're awesome. They're giving us a ton of different free squares and discounts all throughout the playoffs, but really just for a lot of different things. They also pay 6x for the 3-mans, which we always do. We do usually at least one 3-man on Underdog because it's a better payout system than PrizePicks, specifically in 3-mans. But if you're not on if you're not on Underdog, you just want to do it on PrizePicks, 9.5 boards for Tatum without Porzingis or limited Porzingis. I think this is looking like a really good play, especially on the road. If you want to get a little bit more fancy with it, include his points. Maybe go to his points and rebounds because I do think Tatum is going to score the ball, rebound the ball really well. They're going to have to rely on him a little bit more, and he's got to wake up at some point. All right, so it's getting a little bit later in the day. So these are going to be the 2 official video picks. Daniel Gafford's rebounds, 4.5. Goblin, obviously that's going to be a little bit easier to hit. But I think you get his PRA at 15.5. I think you could go to his PR points and rebounds at 14.5 if you want to be looking at his Demon at 7.5 rebounds. I just think Gafford's going to be in a better situation to succeed with Kristaps Porzingis potentially missing the whole game or being very limited. And we saw that in the second half of last game where he was taking advantage of Jason Tatum in the post, spinning off him, alley-oops, dunking, just getting better in position. Gafford's a little bit bigger than Tatum when he's on the floor with just him down there. So I like that or his dunks at 2.0. And then we just talked about Jason Tatum at 9.5 rebounds, liking that as well. But I do want to talk about some leans, some other things. This video is not going to stop here, but the first guy I want to talk about is Luka Doncic. I'm looking at his under 1.5 first quarter assists. I know it doesn't sound right. Going at home, you'd think he'd dish a little bit more, and these guys would be able to score the ball a little bit more. But looking at his outlier page, you can see these are all against Boston. He hasn't hit it against Boston. Actually hasn't gotten 2 assists against Boston all throughout this year, all throughout last year. These are the 2 games in the playoffs so far, in the finals so far. And then how about the games in the NBA playoffs so far? How about 90% hit rate on the under? These are all just the games that are all in the playoffs. So you can see, I'll back it up a little bit more. 2023, oh yeah, a lot of hit right here. But once the playoffs started, a lot of green going under. And then home games even more so, a lot of green where the playoffs start. Right here, he's only hit it in 1 game. So that's a lean. It's something that I played. You're going to have to take that into account. If you want to take that, that's on you. But I do like this play at under 2.5 first quarter assists because I think he's going to score the ball a little bit more. I could be looking at his 8.5 first quarter points. If you want to be looking at some first quarter plays, I like the over there. So under first quarter assists, a lean for sure. Over first quarter points, a lean for sure for Luka. He's been doing it throughout the playoffs. They rely on his scoring a little bit more than his assisting. And again, you see the hit rate here. So I went under on Luka's assist last time. It didn't work out too well for us. Not his first quarter assist, but for his full game. He would have hit his first quarter assist on the under. He had 0, so it was looking really good. But again, I blinked in the third quarter, and he all of a sudden had 8 assists or something crazy. So I like Luka's under. It's not going to be an official video pick, but something I wanted to point out for you guys. And then maybe his points on the over. These are all first quarter plays. And then if you want to take advantage of some discounts we got going on, Wildcard Wednesday for Sleeper, you can check out my link in the description, code RICH when signing up. And we got Luka Doncic down to 25.5 points today. This is available for all users. And we also got Drew Holiday, who just scored 26 points. How about 10.5 for him on Sleeper today? So again, that's the reason, that's the advantage of being on multiple different DFS platforms. I know I preach it in every single video, but in our community, we're always saying, hey, free square over on Chalkboard, discount over on Underdog. That's what you want to be taking advantage of. And again, you don't have to use it every single day. You don't have to use Sleeper every single day, but maybe every Wednesday you want to go over there and take advantage of the discounts they got going on. And I don't want to leave you guys empty-handed. I'll just show you the Sleeper play I put out earlier. This is before I actually forgot it was Wildcard Wednesday, but before all the discounts came out, I put Luka here at 30 plus points. You could do him at 25.5, slide him in there, maybe go for Tatum's 25 points. So we talked about his scoring potential in this game, relying on him a little bit more on the road, potentially no Porzingis, potentially a very limited Porzingis. So I like that scoring chances. Drew Holiday's been rebounding the crap out of the ball, so 6+ rebounds there for him. And then before I kind of dove into deep, Daniel Gafford, the realm down there, but I like him, but I like PJ Washington at 6+ rebounds as well. I like the rebounds lines today, I guess, especially with, Porzingis. He's the biggest man out there. Not the biggest rebounder, but he deters a lot of rebounds for different people. He also spreads the floor out a lot. So that's kind of the slip I put in earlier. I'll be making more slips in the Discord. If you want to check us out, we're a fun community. We're always talking sports, talking props, talking plays. Looks like people are cashing out on some esports here. It's not just NBA. It's not just MLB. We talk about all different types of sports, and we're always shouting out different stuff going on. Protected plays in esports on PrizePicks. You got discounts over here, free square over there. That's what we're here for, and we're just trying to enjoy sports and potentially make some money along the way. Use the link in the description. It's got all the information, but you can use my codes and links section in the Discord as well. PrizePicks, Underdog, Chalkboard, Sleeper, Dabble, and DG Fantasy. They're all my favorite DFS tools. All these are. These are my tools down here, but these are all my favorite DFS apps. You're going to get 100% deposit matches up to $100 when signing up, which is awesome right away. But you're also going to get a free month of the Discord. So kind of a win-win-win, because I get a little bit kicked back my way when you use my code. So I appreciate that. And yeah, all the information's right here. Not going to bore you too much. But again, that's the reason you want to be on multiple discounts and free squares and things like that. You want to take advantage of those. And just join the community. You'll get in here and we'll shout them out for you. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. So that's the Discord. That's the sleeper slip and some other plays, some other leans you can think about for the night. All right, so that's going to do it for this one. We talked about a whole bunch of different plays. We talked about a sleeper slip. If you want to take advantage of sleeper, highly recommend checking out. If you put $100 in when you first sign up, you're going to start with $200. If you put $10 in, you're going to start with $20, and you're going to start with a free square, and you're going to start with the discounts. You can't really beat that. So sign up for sleeper today. It's the day to do it. But we also talked about our PrizePicks slip. We talked about some underdog plays. In terms of my view on the game in general, people are asking, who do you think is going to win? Celtics got no chance without Porzingis, or if Porzingis is limited. I mean, I'm never going to say that the Celtics don't have a chance. I think they absolutely do have a chance. The Dallas Mavericks, though, are favorites in this game for a reason. They're at home. The role players should step up a little bit more. Luka's been going crazy. Kyrie, we have to talk about Kyrie a little bit. Maybe a little shook in Boston. Maybe just the Celtics guards defense has been immaculate, which is they have been all season. Jrue Holiday and Derek White, both all defensive players. They've kind of had him in a vice grip down there, but he should finally have to break out eventually, kind of like Jason Tatum at some point. So could be a Kyrie game. You never know. Luka has been obviously very, very steady and been scoring the ball, rebounding the ball. I don't love his assist capabilities in this series as much, but with Porzingis limited, I do understand that he could get there a little bit easier. But yeah, Luka's going to do his thing. Is Kyrie going to step up? That's a whole nother story. And on the Celtics side of things, Jaylen Brown's been very consistent. Jrue Holiday, very, very consistent. Derek White, kind of under the radar this series, but he's been scoring really well and doing a lot of defensive work as well. So Tatum's got to be the one to step up. Kyrie's got to be the one to step up. But this series is going to be a lot of fun, I think. I think the Celtics still going to win tonight, go up 3-0 in the series, but we'll see. I'm never going to say that they're not, especially at this point in the season. I got to be a little bit somewhat of a homer at this point in the finals. So yeah, that's going to do it for me. Again, leave the video a like, comment something down below, and subscribe if you are new. I'll see you guys tomorrow for some baseball.